This is the College Gamers Podcast for December 13th, 2015. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Mike, as always, and Taft is out this week because he's on vacation or whatever he's doing. But this is a very special episode of the podcast because for the first time ever in the history of the show, in its short history of existence, we have our very first guest host. Today, I am very pleased to welcome Alexandra.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. How's your week going?
It's going pretty good. I mean, we just had finals and those are over, so it's pretty big relief to have this semester be over.
Yeah, it's pretty nice not to have finals. How'd they all go? Anything you're worried about or anything or nothing?
Not really. I pretty much know what all my grades and my classes are going to be. I mean, professors are pretty predictable, so
yeah, that's
no surprises there.
It's always nice. It was a fun week. Unfortunately, because finals, I didn't get to play too many video games this week.
No.
So, yeah, that's always sad. So, Alexandra, you are the president of Women in Computer Science, WICS, right?
Yes, correct.
And what is that organization?
Women in Computer Science is an organization at LSU that was created basically for the academic, social, and professional development of women studying computer science at LSU. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of like ACM, the General Student Organization, but it was made specifically to help develop female CS students.
I gotcha, because there's kind of a disproportion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now.
We're there to basically help combat the problems that arise from being a minority within computer science.
I see. And you have some experience making video games and such, right?
Yes, I do actually. The last 4 summers I've worked at game studios. I worked at 2 different indie studios, and last summer I worked at EA. So
that's awesome. Did you enjoy it? Did you have fun?
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
What did you do as an intern? If you can tell me, I don't know if there's
absolutely.
Closed doors or anything.
No, actually, the game that I was working on at EA was just released, so I can tell you what that is. It's called Star Wars: Galaxy of Heroes.
Oh, awesome!
Yes, it's a mobile Star Wars game, and it just came out on worldwide release. I want to say last week. And my name's in the credits, so that's really cool because this is actually my first published game with my name in the credits.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And as a software engineering intern, basically, it's pretty much what it sounds like. I was doing programming for video games for these companies. When I worked at Heatwave the first summer, there was a company that doesn't exist anymore called Heatwave Interactive. I was doing a mentorship program with them because that was the summer before college started.
Yeah.
And basically, I was just learning how to use Unity, which is a really common video game engine. And I got to basically do whatever I wanted to and learn on my own time. And I got the help of the people who worked there. The second and third summers, I was working for Pixel Dash Studios in town.
Pixel Dash. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yes, they're a studio in here in Baton Rouge. And I actually heard about them because there was an article about them in LSU's newspaper, The Reveille. Mm-hmm. And for them, I was working on Swap Drop Poker, which is a mobile game that they're creating in Unity. So I was actually working on the game for them, and my second summer with them was my first time actually being paid as a game developer.
Congratulations. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
being paid to create the things you love.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool moment, having getting my first paycheck and being holy crap, I just got paid to make a game. That's awesome.
That's nice. So you have a lot of experience in Unity?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have a deprivation of experience in other game engines because this happens in the game industry. You get good at one thing, or you get known, or get one thing on your resume, get known for being good at that one thing, and that's all that people will hire you for.
I see.
Because the thing about the game industry sometimes is especially with the bigger studios, the big companies like EA, when they're looking to hire somebody, they're okay, we need this one specific type of skill set to fill this role in a project. And you get hired to do that over and over and over again. So yes, I know Unity.
You get specialized.
Yeah, exactly. Unity's what I've been using since I started at Heatwave. Prior to that, I had used Game Maker a couple of times in high school. I'm planning on teaching myself Unreal this winter break because I need a job and that makes me more marketable. But I do like Unity a lot.
Diversify your portfolio.
Exactly.
So would you say Unity's your favorite? Of all the game engines you've used, would you?
Honestly, I don't have enough experience to say. Like, Unity is what I've used so far. I don't know. Ask me again in a few months after I know Unreal.
I see.
Because I know, like, there's, I would probably say, like, even if I had more experience, like, just from knowing people who have worked in other engines and, talking to other game developers, that there's really strengths and weaknesses to all of the engines. Like, I mean, hands down, if you want to make something that's really amazing, like AAA quality, Unreal is going to get you a prettier product than Unity, period.
Yeah.
But Unity is really, I don't know. I think, at least I've heard that it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to just immediately get things off the ground and running, especially since it's in C# instead of C++, like Unreal is, which is a lot more difficult programming language I found. So Unity is definitely, I would suggest, like, for beginners or like people who are wanting to get into
going for
it.
beginners.
Yeah.
I see. And so what would you say is the most rewarding aspects or like your favorite part of making a game?
For me personally, it's seeing the creative work that the team has put into it come to life. Like, there's really nothing cooler than coming up with an idea or a story to tell or, a mechanic, a way for somebody to interact with something, and then actually making it and seeing that come to life.
Yeah.
That is really, I think, like, the most beautiful part of game development. I especially love, like, somebody who enjoys being a leader, which is one of the reasons why I'm head of Wix. Like, I love helping people put games together and, like, seeing my friends and my teammates, like, come up with these really cool ideas and then helping them actually, like, put it all together and have them see their ideas come to life. That is my favorite part of game development.
That was definitely my favorite part of Game Jam overall.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like, everything that everyone made was just over 48 hours was just incredible.
Yeah. Did you get to see a lot of the games at the Game Jam?
I did. I also saw the one that it's not Frostbite. It's the Unreal Engine. That one game with the Unreal Engine.
Memento.
That looked really great.
Yeah, the one that was like the team of all artists.
Yes.
Yeah, they made
the lighting was fantastic.
They made all of those 3D assets during the jam.
That's incredible.
That was insane. They literally, like, I gave them permission to, like, leave the jam site and go to the art building because they had to use some, like, nice computers to render it all. But yeah, that was all in Unreal, which is just makes some really gorgeous games.
It was. It handles lighting really well. All the games there were pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There were some very original works.
Yeah.
It was so cool to watch, and I'm excited. There's another one coming up, right? There's another one coming up in January?
Yeah, there is that one. So the Game Jam that we're talking about right now is the one that was hosted by Women in Computer Science in November. The next Game Jam that's coming up in Baton Rouge, there's one that's hosted by LSU that's a location for the Global Game Jam. So this is not Wix affiliated. But yeah, no, the Global Game Jam's like a worldwide jam. I don't know, it's probably, other than like Ludum Dare, one of the biggest game jams, period. And, there are locations all over the world, and LSU's hosting one. Specifically the digital media program, the digital media arts and engineering program.
Yeah.
They're hosting one, in January.
Sounds like fun. So
yeah.
we can get to more details about that into the show and cover all that. So yeah, I think that's a good intro. You want to move on into the news, talk about what's been happening this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's rock and roll. Breaking news. So first up this week, something I noticed, I found 2 articles this week talking about game studios moving to Canada, or not moving to Canada, but starting new studios in Canada. And I thought that was really interesting because Ubisoft, I think their main studio, or like the one who makes the one who's in charge of Assassin's Creed, is located in Montreal, I believe.
Yes, they are.
And we're back. All right. People at home will know what just happened. So yeah, Bethesda just opened a studio in, was it Quebec? Where'd they open it? Oh, they opened Montreal. And Gearbox just opened one in Quebec. So I'm really hoping this Bethesda studio is going to be like, Elder Scrolls 6, crossing my fingers. It's also a possibility that maybe they're starting a studio for long-term support for Elder Scrolls Online. Because I think I don't know how that's going. I haven't played it. Have you?
No, I have not.
No. I've heard good and bad things about it, but I'll have to play that sometime. 'Cause it looks like fun. And Gearbox is opening a studio in Quebec, as I mentioned earlier, and it's actually for the first time in this history of the 16 years the company's been around that's opening a separate office. So it's a big deal for them. And I've actually seen some pictures of the new studio, and it looks pretty fancy dancy. So yeah, so I did some digging in why Canada is so popular for game studios and why it seems a lot of people like to go there to start new ones. And apparently the government is very supportive of new studios. You get, I think Quebec, like you get like a 37% tax break on game studios. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Let's see, Ontario has all sorts of support systems for like money that studios invest in artists and developers. The city returns like 35 to 40% of the money they invest.
That's really nice.
So that's pretty nice. It's like buying a new car and they're like, hey, we'll give you 40% of the money you just spent on that car back if you want.
Do you have any idea how that compares to New Orleans? Because, that reminds me sort of how New Orleans is doing the same thing where game companies are sort of piggybacking on the money that movie studios are able to make. Like that applies to game studios too. In New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Yeah, it does.
Because I know Louisiana's kind of been pushing for more movie shootings and trying to bring more business this way.
Yeah, and a side effect of that is more game developers too. Did you hear that In Exile is opening a new studio in New Orleans?
I did not know that.
They were previously California based. If you ever played Wasteland, which is sort of deemed like the original Fallout type game, they're moving to. Oh, they also made Bard's Tale.
Oh, okay.
They actually are originally from California, but they're opening a new, full-size studio, in New Orleans. I actually got to meet at a game developer meetup, last month. Their president and lead artist are moving there. So, they're actually serious about it.
Wow. That's
something
awesome.
that I feel like the movie studios do sometimes is, they'll just, freaking like put an office there for like the tax breaks, but not necessarily do a lot with it. So it's really exciting me to see these game companies showing that they are really investing in the area by, having their whole entire, president and lead
they're
artists
serious
move over
about
there.
coming down here.
They're absolutely serious. I met the guys at a New Orleans game developer meetup, and they are super, super like excited about actually getting involved in the game development community in New Orleans.
That's awesome.
So, but that's a little bit of a tangent from Canada, but that reminded me like those cities are probably trying to do, a similar thing where they want to get more of like a game developer community in the area. Yeah,
and the government, like the federal government, also has support systems where companies can get grants of the $50,000 to $500,000 to cover development for tech companies. So that's pretty nice. And also, Canada has some world-renowned engineering programs at several universities.
Oh
in
yeah,
the country.
absolutely.
And they're also home to, I believe it's like Sheridan College, which is known for one being the top animation schools in the world. So they seem to have some good people there.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to bring LSU to those levels down here, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Actually, well, I was at EA. I was at EA when the opening of Motive Studios was announced, which is another studio that's going to be opening up in Canada shortly.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, they're going to be in Montreal. And I didn't hear, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to be working on, but it is going to be a full-size studio. I heard something about maybe Star Wars related and something about like Visceral. They're still working out, I think, whether it's going to be its own independent studio or whether it's going to be supporting another studio location. But I'm really excited about that. I think that's really cool, especially since they're hiring a lot right now. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, that's nice.
What's
about
up,
to graduate. And, hey, I've interned for y'all before.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. That sounds like fun. Well, yeah, so new studios, it's really good to see this growth in these companies. It's good, if they're growing and getting more people, that's just better games for us.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. It's really good to see diversification outside of the little California bubble.
Yeah.
Because that bubble is going to burst at some point. I know the guys from In Exile said that, one of the reasons that they're moving to New Orleans is because California is just way too expensive. The president was saying like he really wants to have a studio somewhere where people can actually live close to the studio and not be like house poor because of it.
Yeah.
He said people actually want to be able to afford to live where they work. And that's not really very feasible.
Especially in California.
In California, unless you are like literally EA and you can just like throw money at your
I know
employees.
Facebook's building like a housing facility near their headquarters, I believe. I think they announced that. So yeah, it's kind of expensive to live out there.
No, absolutely. So it makes me really happy to see. You know, I don't know. Montreal's probably still a little bit expensive, but California is fairly ridiculous. So seeing growth anywhere outside of California, like whether that be in New Orleans or Canada, is
Is there any other big locations for studio growth? Like, are people going maybe New York or what? Are there other places other than
Austin? Has always been sort of like a lesser known city for game development, or at least lesser known to, I think, people outside the industry. Because if you're outside the industry, you know, people mainly think like, oh, California, like the Bay Area for tech and stuff like that. But Austin in Texas is actually a really cool hub for game development.
Yeah.
You know, they've got Arcane, they've got EA, including, you know, a BioWare studio over there.
Yeah, I know Blizzard has an Austin office as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So do a lot of tech companies, including like Dell and Microsoft, of course. So, and it's a really cool city too. And it's a little bit expensive. I mean, you know, as somebody who's lived in Louisiana the past 4 years, like, which Baton Rouge's cost of living is really, really decent. But, Austin's a little bit expensive, but it's like nowhere near California levels. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, California is just kind of expensive everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's also a very pretty state. So
that's true. Well, Austin's really pretty.
It is. I've been there.
Especially depending on what half of town you're in.
It's also like the live music capital of the world or
yes,
something.
it is, which I love. Although I'm really like more of a metalhead. And so moving to Austin was a little bit disappointing because like all of my favorite bands, like San Antonio is full of metalheads. Like San Antonio is like that, and Dallas sort of are like the Texas hubs for metal. And then so all of the bands that I love go to like San Antonio or Dallas or Houston and just like they just skirt around.
So just barely missing all your bands.
Exactly. But San Antonio is only a couple hours away, so it's, you know, it's worth the drive. It's definitely better than being in Baton Rouge or New Orleans where it's just a barren wasteland as far as metal and hardcore go.
Yeah, I mean, you get a band occasionally through New Orleans.
Yeah. I mean, August Burns Red always comes to the House of Blues, but
other than that, all right. Well, let's move on here to League of Legends. Did you watch the League of Legends World Championship?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
I'm not a big competitive fan. Although, you know, one of my younger brothers actually plays for UT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like they have their own team?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, college esports is a really growing thing. So.
Yeah, they're getting like scholarships and
he won. I mean, his team won $2,000 in scholarships in their last competition, and they're moving on to the next round of I have no idea what, but
that's nice.
Yeah,
it's a nice way. Well, the World Championships this year was back in August. And it brought in during its peak, it brought in more than 14 million people watching live. I think that was during the finals, but that's
amazing.
I think it's another example of what, you know, esports are becoming a serious thing, and I don't think it's gonna be too much longer until we're starting to watch it on TV.
Yeah,
you know, because I went to Korea a year or two back, and I was sitting in the hotel room. I was watching StarCraft on cable. In my hotel room.
Oh wow!
I know that it was kind of a strange idea back then, but like nowadays in the United States, esports are a growing thing, and I think this is a great example of just like how big this is becoming.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited to see esports growing and gaining legitimacy like that. That's really cool. My grandparents really don't understand that my brother plays video games competitively.
Yeah, I guess it's a really recent thing. Competitive gaming. It's only really exploded, I think, recently. So it's still strange. They had 36 million total unique viewers worldwide. So it's pretty good.
That's really cool.
That's pretty good. It's a good.
That's really catching up too. I would just Google the Super Bowl has 114 million, so
still got a little bit of ways to go, but we're getting there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'd say League of Legends is one of the bigger contestants.
Yeah,
I think when it comes to competitive gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, one of the things about like about physical sports is that people will just like turn it on in the living room out of obligation. So
Yeah.
when we've reached that level with esports, that's when we know we've made it.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
somebody in the family is gonna want to watch this. Like,
Yeah, I wonder how many people Counter-Strike brings in, because Counter-Strike is also a bigger competitor. But I wouldn't know like League of Legends compared to Counter-Strike, because they're two very different games.
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. Well, we can move on here to Overwatch, the game I am still waiting to get into the closed beta.
Yeah, how long has that been going on? Because I remember the last time I heard anything about Overwatch was when I saw the E3 preview for it. And I haven't heard much since.
It started about a month or two ago, and I signed up over a year ago for the beta, so I was super sad I haven't gotten in yet. And they recently took, they're taking a winter break. I think they're maybe doing some server-side stuff, just kind of getting everything ready again. And that started on the 10th. But it was recently announced, I think it was BlizzCon this year. Was BlizzCon this year? Gosh. It's actually, you see, they recently released Heroes of the Storm, which is kind of a MOBA, free to play. You can buy heroes, skins, that kind of thing. And everyone was expecting Overwatch to be free to play as well, where you could buy skins and things. But they announced that BlizzCon, it's going to be you pay for it. It's $60, and they actually said they designed it like from the start as a console game. Which is very different from Blizzard, who's been PC strong.
Yeah.
All the way up to this.
Yeah, that is interesting. And Overwatch has an asymmetrical play, right? Where 4 of the people are playing the heroes and 1 person's playing the monster that they're fighting, right?
It's more of a
correct?
team. I'm not sure of different game modes, but from what I've seen, it looks kind of Team Fortress.
Oh,
related.
yeah, okay.
That might be a game mode, but it reminds me of Team Fortress. It looks like there's a cart game mode where you deliver a cart, kill what do you call it when you just kill the other team? There's a word for that where you just murder people. I forget what the word is, but that's not the point. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to play it.
Oh, okay, it's team versus team. All right, got it.
So,
yeah, no, okay, I'm confusing this with an asymmetric game that was gonna be it's the new Fable is gonna be like kind of like a MOBA, except that the enemy, like instead of the enemy being like an enemy of teams, it's just one person. So it's sort of like an asymmetric gameplay, which I was confused. I thought that was Overwatch was, but oops, I was wrong.
No, you're good. What was that game again? What was it called?
It's called Fable Legends, I believe.
Legends? Is that different from the Fable games? Is that different than
Yeah,
those?
it is. I think it's like using the Fable universe, but that is the only thing that it has in common with the previous Fables. The gameplay is completely different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a strange turn to take.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're trying to do. So is it like a top down?
It's free to play. Hold on. What are people calling this? Oh wait, no, maybe that's not the okay.
Free to play. I see.
Can we get back to Overwatch? I need
Overwatch.
to Google for a second. I'm confusing myself.
The awesome game that I want to play, but Blizzard has yet to give me the pleasure to. So yeah, what they said this week was
it's Fable Legends. That's what I was talking about with asymmetric play. Yeah.
So what they're saying this week is you pay that $60 to get in, and after that, the new heroes and maps they patch in are going to be free. So you don't have to pay for new heroes later.
Yeah.
Which would be, that would kind of stink if you paid $60 for the game and you have to pay for new heroes and things. So I think it's good on them to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Overwatch.
That's really interesting that they're making it like competitive and sort of MOBA-like, but then they're making it a console game and not free to play.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it doesn't require a subscription, but it's still $60 to get in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. And aren't people like, I got the impression that the fan base was sort of like confused that it wasn't going to be free to play, and that was the reason that they were having these reassuring people that the additional content would be free, right?
Yeah, well, I think everyone was expecting a free to play system.
Yeah.
And I think they because like they just released Heroes of the Storm, they just released Hearthstone, which are both free to play. And so I think they were expecting this last one to be free to play because that seemed the direction they were going. So I think they were just kind of blindsided by this.
Yeah, that is interesting. They probably I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to put out too many of the same like style at the same time.
Well, they might just be trying something different because it's always easier to go from pay to play to free to play.
Yeah.
So they might be trying. They might be kind of dabbing their toes a little bit into the pay to play system, and then if it doesn't work out for them, they can always go to free to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of, I don't know, transition thing. I don't know, bad transition. Witcher 3. Have you played The Witcher 3?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I'm such a bad gamer. No, I was too busy this semester. I mean, no, I have not played The Witcher.
Well, it actually won.
yet.
It won Game of the Year.
I did hear that actually, because I listened to your last podcast.
Awesome.
But no, I did hear about it, and I know it is really, really good, and I should play it, and all that.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's one of the prettier games this year. Well, a new mod came out for it where if you don't like the combat system, which can be frustrating at times, this mod replaces all the combat with Gwent games.
Yeah, I saw that. That's really interesting.
That is really interesting because have you know like the basis of Gwent?
Sort of.
It's a card game that kind of reenacts how armies fight.
Yeah.
So you have like a close combat, and you have like a medium, then you have like the guys like archers and things in the back, and you use cards. You can change like you like fog down on the map, so they do less damage. And I didn't really dabble too far into it, but it looks like a lot of fun. So what happens is that say you run into a bunch of bandits. If the player is damaged or the enemy is damaged, it then starts a Gwent game. And if you win the Gwent game, all enemies within 30 yards die. So you don't have to play like each person you run into.
Oh yeah, that's really fascinating.
But if you lose, you die. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Gwent actually exploded after the game came out. Like people wanted like real life Gwent. Like it became a very popular thing. And I never really dabbled into it, so I didn't really get too into the game, the Gwent game. So it wasn't really my thing. But I thought that's a really cool concept.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always excited to see new mechanics, like new ideas for game related mechanics, whether those be, card games or video games popping up. So I'll be interested to track like where, Gwent in general goes, but also how popular this mod gets.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think there's another mod out there where you can play Gwent outside of the game. So you can like just launch it in a separate window and play Gwent just like there. So that's just how popular this is getting. And the creator of the mod, he's looking to create like a progression system using Gwent cards. Also, he wants to reconstruct the economy to be card focused.
Yeah.
Where you can buy booster packs and things from like shop vendors. That'd be interesting. I'd feel like I'm in like a Yu-Gi-Oh world or something.
I know, that's crazy. That's so ambitious. These are the kind of the modders that eventually just get hired by the dev team.
Exactly. That must be a fun way to get hired. Just create mods and things.
Yeah, I always wonder what these people are doing for a profession. If these guys just like go to their job and come home and all he does is like work on this, because this is, he's basically almost creating like a full blown game, even though a lot of what he's doing is modding this game. I'm always like, man, where do you get this free time?
Yeah, exactly. Well, some games come out like Gmod was a mod for Half-Life. So was Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So like a lot of good things come from modding games.
Yeah, no, modding's absolutely fascinating, and it's like this will be good for the lifetime of The Witcher too. I know so many games that I feel like their lifetime, like their longevity, has just been prolonged by people getting into modding it. So it's always good to see developer support for that too. The developers actually creating things to help people mod, like actually creating mod tools and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And then there's games like Minecraft, which are just so inherently moddable that I think that's one of the reasons that games like this are going to live forever, is because
I think that like Fallout 4, there's like so many options that like when mods, I'm not sure if mods have been released yet for that. I think they're planning to this coming year. But when mods come out for that, that's just going to be an explosion of... Oh, man. There's going to be so many good mods for that.
That's going to be so exciting. That's going to be so exciting. And you get everything from, the visual enhancements that people created for Skyrim to, like putting a human skin body on the dragon and things.
The Thomas the Train Engine.
Yes, exactly. Or Thomas.
Those are hilarious. And
with the dragon.
I recently got hooked on watching videos of model swaps in Metal Gear Solid. Those are hilarious.
Yeah.
Because there's some really awkward romance scenes, and they'll replace the characters of like males. It's hilarious.
Oh gosh, I saw those too. So
Yeah.
everything from that to serious visual enhancements, I think, are like
really,
really.
GTA just got a 4K mod.
Oh wow!
Someone replaced. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
That's how do you even how do you even mod a game to be higher? Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
To
I
mod
don't,
it to
I
be
don't know
like
how you
higher
start with that.
quality. Like yeah, I don't even have a machine that could do that.
Yeah. My graphic
So-
card says it's 4K, but I don't trust it.
Yeah,
And like 4K monitors are too expensive.
yeah.
They're expensive right now. And from what I've heard, like the graphic jump from 4K to like a 1080 from a 1080p monitor isn't actually that big. Like it's not as noticeable as you think it would be. So, yeah, 4K, fun stuff. Fun stuff. Anyway, last thing, oh, by the way, speaking of mods, League of Legends started as a Warcraft mod.
Really, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So that's just another example of how mods are really awesome because we just
Yeah.
got a bunch of million people watching
creating
the championships.
creating mod tools I think is really one of the best things that a developer can do for increasing longevity of their game and just really getting people into it. I mean, it's like getting a bunch of new features that cost almost $0 for the developers to do. Like this Gwent thing is like that's like a whole new game within this game. Like they've set up all of the story and the universe and stuff, but like this is a whole new mechanic that costs the Witcher developers literally $0 to make. So.
And have you heard of a Kerbal Space Program?
Yes, I have.
They're picking up modders left and right because people are making like new texture models, new part models, and they're hiring these people who are making these mods and just like
that's definitely one way to get attention from developers.
And that's a really because if people are having good ideas and like you want them on your team,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really awesome. Mods, good thing to have, and it's something I want to get into.
Yes,
because it sounds like fun. I just don't. So where would be a good place to start with modding? It's kind of
I don't know. I've never been super into that
lasagna.
community, but I am sure I know somebody who knows. I've got, it really depends on like, first of all, where your talent area is external to exactly what you want to do, and then just what your favorite games are. Because, some of them are going to be simpler to mod than others. Some of them are actually going to have support and some of them won't. Some of them are going to require languages that you might have to like learn or get used to, but really, I would just start with a game that you love and something that you're good at. So whether you're, more on the art side or more on the programming side is going to determine exactly what you want to mod.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who like to do, like skin mods for like big games like Mass Effect and stuff like that, which is really cool. Like I actually downloaded so many mods for like for creating like better haircuts for like Commander Shepard and stuff. So really, like I would just pick a game that you love and just like dive head first into it, and it's gonna feel kind of like because way back when I actually modded Zoo Tycoon skins a little bit.
Zoo Tycoon.
Yes, because the game actually shipped with or no, not the game shipped with, but there was DLC for modding tools for not just, creating new skins, but creating new 3D models too. I mean, I downloaded so many animals. I mean, you can modify animal behavior by modding too, which was really cool. Like people created like, more intelligent wolves and stuff like that had like better pack behavior, which was really, really cool.
That's interesting.
But yeah, no, really, I would just pick a game that you love and just dive headfirst into it. Because at first it's going to feel like you have no idea what you're doing.
Definitely.
But you just kind of have to like stick with it.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to mod one, like that is going to give you a good foundational skill set to figure out how to mod other games.
It's easier to pick up other games.
Definitely. And I don't know the nitty gritty of it. I don't remember most of how, I actually went through and dug through Zoo Tycoon. But I'm sure I could find some people that know.
I gotcha.
I know some nerds. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear from a lot of people, especially like older people, when games were first coming, like when games were still new and you could still mess with like the underside of them. Like a lot of people, the way they got into programming was they were messing with like the code for games. Mm-hmm. Like messing with dialogue and making characters act differently.
Yeah, absolutely. What the technical artist who sat in front of me at EA, like that's how he got into technical art is from modding, basically.
Really?
Yeah, and that's still one of his favorite things to do.
Sounds like fun. That's always something I want to get into, but I just have to have time for it.
Oh, what? Technical art or modding?
Modding.
Yeah.
Modding is always something I want to get into. And I there was a time I kind of dabbled in making mods for World of Warcraft. Uh-huh. That's just something I need to get back to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. One last thing in the news cycle here this week, folks. EA announces a new competitive gaming division with Peter Moore as its leader. Mm-hmm. So, exciting? Not exciting? What do you think of this?
I think that's really interesting. I don't know why it took companies this long to, well, I know, but like, I think it's kind of silly that it took companies this long to, actually have their own branches to capitalize on the fact that their games are being played competitively. Mm-hmm. I think that's really, really interesting. I wonder what that's going to mean for, competitive gaming companies that are not, actually affiliated with the developers, things like MLG and stuff like that. Like, I wonder how that's gonna, how, the game companies having their own competitive gaming division is going to affect that.
I can see that. And do you think they're just recently, I'm creating this competitive branch. Do you think maybe they're going to start pushing, because it was so close to the release of Battlefront, do you think they're going to start pushing Battlefront as a competitive game?
We'll see. One of the things about competitive gaming, we'll have to watch and see whether or not the game is really fit to be competitive. Because, just because there are people fighting other people in the game, that's the number one thing that you need for it to be competitive. But that doesn't mean that the game is built for good competition, like whether or not it's actually really well balanced, whether or not there's actually enough uniqueness in combat situations that people who are playing it all day are going to get, a fresh experience every time. So we'll see how that actually turns out. But they're sports games, almost certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play any FIFA, Madden, any of that?
No.
Yeah.
Those have got to be my least favorite kinds of games ever. I'm so not a sports person at all.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is what's going to draw people to watching people play video game sports like Madden or FIFA competitively when they can watch the actual games.
Well, it's got to be the same reason that people watch people play the sports in the first place. I don't think the medium matters as much as people just enjoy seeing people who are are really high skill level compared to them playing the game. And so whether that's, physical sports or eSports sports, I don't know the delivery of it matters, because I know so many people who play the video game. Then you might as well say, well, why even play video game football if you could just play actual football? Well,
so there's a difference there.
Yeah. I think there's definitely definitely some differences between.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some people out there that prefer video game sports compared to watching anyway. Mm-hmm. So when you compete in Madden, one person controls the team, right? It's not like you don't have one player for each team member, say on your soccer team.
Yeah.
So is it just two people going head to head?
Well, you can play it Dude, I haven't played Madden in so long. No, literally since I don't think I've played Madden since junior high. But
all right, I've never played it. I'll be honest.
Really?
I've never played. Yeah.
I haven't played them since literally since I was just forced to, because my brothers did.
You were forced to.
Yeah, well, when I was younger, I was into video games because my brothers were, so whatever they bought, we played.
I gotcha.
So I've played a few seconds of Madden.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy it?
Not really.
I understand. And it looks like Battlefield 4 has its own, what's, what ESL stands for? ESL?
It can mean a lot of things.
Can it? Awesome. Well, ESL won Battlefield 4 championships.
Oh, okay. It's a team.
Oh, it's a team? Oh, okay. I was ESL. It's electronic.
Oh, or the
Super
ESL
League?
Gaming Network. Is that what we're talking about?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'm actually not too familiar with the competitive field. I should probably get more into that. But Battlefield 4 I don't think of it as a competitive game.
Okay, ESL is like MLG. It's just another competitive gaming league.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't really think of Battlefield 4 as a competitive game. There's some really awesome videos of people jumping out of planes, firing a rocket launcher, and then landing back into the plane. Like there's some fun videos of people doing crazy things, but I never think of it as competitive.
I mean, usually when I think of like military game that's competitive, I think of CS:GO.
Yeah.
Pretty much immediately. But I have no idea. Especially, it also just has to do, I think, with like the culture that revolves around the game. Like, who is into that game in the first place? And it's not to say that the people playing those games aren't super competitive, but it's not in like the organized like team formation like way that people who play League are, you know.
I understand. I got you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think they have some good content on their hands. I think the sports games are probably going to lead them in the competitive sector. Like, I think they're going to be their flagships when it comes to competitive.
Yeah, I was interested even to see that CS:GO was had its own competitive aspect. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And the same thing with Battlefield. Like, it really just depends on, I think, the culture that evolves around it.
I'm sure it has a following
and who's playing it. Yeah.
I gotcha. All right, well that's it for the news this week, everyone. We're gonna move on to the next segment. Let's rock and roll. What you playing? All right. Well, it was finals week this week, so gaming time was at a minimum, but I still managed to get a few hours, and so I've been playing a lot of GTA because I picked that up over Steam recently had a sale, like a winter sale.
Oh yeah.
So I finally picked that up. It's a lot of fun. Map is absolutely beautiful. Still been playing that. Have you been playing anything lately?
Yeah, I have. A couple of games that I've played recently that I thought were really interesting were both placed they were both played on like the gameplay is the setting is on somebody's desktop computer. For some reason, that's just like a growing trend. A couple of games that I've played recently have been set on a desktop. One of them was called Emily is Away, and it's placed in like the early to mid 2000s. Okay. Like old Windows, where you're talking to somebody on AIM, on, AOL's Instant Messenger. And that's like the whole gameplay of it is these conversations that you have with the girl, like over AIM. And then another one that I played, which I'm totally gonna mispronounce, but I think it's called Ciebele. That's Ciebele.
All right.
That was one that was created by this, girl who's like this really, like internet famous, like feminist game creator, and she created this game that also, takes place on a desktop, but, instead of doing instant messaging, although instant messaging is a part of it, and then so is like looking at like the files and photos that are on her desktop.
Yeah.
A lot of it is playing there's a game within a game where you're playing, a very simple, MMO with this dude who you like have an online relationship with, and that's what the game's about.
Interesting.
So I just thought that these like settings are this like desktop setting is really interesting. That I noticed that was a trend that was growing recently. Yeah. It's a really, really like interesting thing to play because it really like it, literally puts you in somebody's shoes who's playing this game because you're looking at a desktop while you're on your desktop.
That's really strange. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. So is it just So what when you look at the desktop, what do you see?
You see, I mean, it looks like, you've got a wallpaper and the icons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see. So
it's made to look exactly like, a Windows desktop.
I see. So there's not like a border around the side where you have like coffee next to you or something. It's the desktop.
It is the desktop screen. And this is really fascinating too, because it's sort of like a new realm of adventure game where, it's got the classic like, point and click elements of adventure games, but then instead of looking at objects in a room, you're looking at somebody's files on their computer. In Ciebele, you can like dig around and, you can look through her folders, look at photos, look at, poetry and like journal logs that she's written and stuff like that. As well as look at through, you can open up her instant messaging service and look at her, chat logs with all of her friends and stuff like that. So it's everything that you would do, on a normal desktop. Like,
interesting.
And it's also got, the point and click adventure aspect.
So you're kind of exploring this character by looking through her laptop.
Yeah. And it's really fascinating to me because, it's sort of like, a new era of adventure game where you're exploring somebody's life through their electronic life, which I think is like a very interesting modern thing to do. Because previously adventure games, most of them take place in like, the physical world, or at least their setting is in the physical world where you're walking around like looking at somebody's bookshelf or something,
Yeah.
But, a lot of our lives are actually on our computers, are online.
Definitely.
So to have an adventure game that means that you're clicking through, somebody's files and chat logs and even like playing one of their games, I think is like a very modern and interesting take on the genre.
Do you ever feel like, creepy looking through like because it feels like you're looking through someone's laptop? Does it ever feel...
I mean, it gives you the same creepy feeling as like, playing Gone Home and going and looking through your sister's journal, and like looking at all of her like cassette tapes and poking in your mom's bedroom and stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, it's kind of like, you sort of just like have that suspension of disbelief that you would with any other adventure game. I feel like, I mean, it felt kind of weird at first, like, oh, okay, I'm like looking at this girl's selfies, especially since Siebely is actually, and the other game, Emily is Away might be too, but who knows? Siebely is actually also a true story. So these are like real selfies and like photos of this girl at parties from college and high school from her.
Yeah.
So it's like that adds like a new element of like personal to it.
That's a really cool concept to build a game off of.
Absolutely. Like it's a true story for the most part. I mean, the game that she actually met the boy in real life was World of Warcraft, but in the game she makes this like artsy MMO that's not like WoW at all, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to me like poking through her personal life like that, but she made it and invited you to, so
that's really is that where can I find that if I wanted to?
Both of these games are on Steam. Siebely I think I got on a sale for way cheaper, but I think it's like $15 baseline, and I think that's worth the couple of hours of gameplay that you get out of it.
Yeah.
Emily is Away is totally free. And it also can be found on Steam.
Emily is Away, that's the one you were looking through the text messages?
Yes, that's the one where, well, no, that one, it's on AIM. It takes place on AIM, and you actually chat with somebody in chat with the NPC in real time.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, it gives you like 3 options, sort of sort of like any other like text adventure game style, where it gives you like 3 options for dialogue. And then,
I thought you were saying like you could type wherever you wanted and it replied. I was like, that's a really awesome game. Holy cow.
Well, I mean, she does reply. Like Emily is Away is really interesting because it literally just looks like you're on the desktop and then you open up AIM and like chat with somebody. Like that's exactly what it looks like. And it's like Windows 97 or whatever. It's like old as fuck.
So it looks ancient.
Yeah, it's all pixelated and nostalgic. But yeah, the game it's kind of interesting. I feel like it's kind of not quite making fun of, but putting a twist on the branching storyline thing, because the game claims at the beginning of it that there are branching storylines to navigate through your different options of dialogue with the NPC. But sorry for the spoilers, but that kind of turns out to not quite be the case, and so it kind of puts a twist on that branching dialogue thing that's been going on lately with the popularity of like the Telltale games and stuff like that. So
yeah, have you been playing any Fallout 4? I saw you were playing Fallout 4.
Played Fallout 4.
You're not?
Dude, no. I mean, that came out like right before finals week, and I was like, okay, I need to be a responsible student and not get Fallout right now because I know I'm gonna waste all my time on it. And now I don't know, I'm just freaking procrastinating or something.
I got you.
I don't know.
See, that's what I said. I was like, I'm gonna be responsible. I'm not gonna get it until finals are over, and I got it that day.
Oh yeah.
So I was pretty bad about that.
Yeah, no, one of my friends said the exact same thing to herself, and then her husband bought her Fallout 4, and she was like, well, now I can't not play it because it's a gift.
Well, I definitely recommend it. It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Absolutely. I heard what's it called when you're like building like a base in the game?
Oh gosh.
Like so building that you can actually like
settlements.
You can like actually like build custom like buildings and settlements and stuff like that. And I've heard that the way that the NPCs interact with it is like sort of groundbreaking and how smart they are in interacting with something that you built. That's not just like a preset, put a watchtower here. Instead, you like can freaking, build wood on top of each other. And the NPCs will know where to climb and be like, oh, okay, well here's the little gun at the top.
It's really cool. Yeah, I got like turrets on buildings.
Exactly, turret. Thank you. Yeah, it's so I really need to play it because a friend of mine who's also a game developer was talking about that, and so that really fascinated me. It makes me really want to play it. Yeah. Just at least from like I'm a game developer and need to play this.
Yeah,
perspective.
And I hear from all my friends, they'll be like working on the story and they're like, "Oh, I'll go dabble in this settlement thing," and they spend the rest of the day just building their settlement. Yeah, it's you can really get sucked into it.
Yeah,
it's exactly. A lot of fun.
I feel like I would never even actually finish the game. I would like cease to give a crap about the storyline and be like, "Fuck this! I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to build a bunch of settlements."
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can have like multiple settlements. They can communicate with each other, and you can build your own radio tower.
That's really
cool. And so it like broadcasts, and it's trading, and
that's cool.
It's really fleshed out. Mm-hmm. I really like that. So yeah, but I've just been playing GTA, shooting people, robbing cars. You know how it goes.
Excellent.
Yes, the fun things. Turning my brain off after finals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I should be doing. But I've got so much shit to do. I said I was going to try and teach myself C++ and Unreal over the winter, and then on top of that, I've got like scholarships and stuff to apply for. So it's not really a break.
All the fun things
per se.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a good Christmas. Relax on Christmas at least.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right. Well, I think that covers everything. It's a good show. It was fun.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can contact the show at thecollegegamersshow@gmail.com with 2 S's. You can follow me on Twitter at bluecows with a Z, BLUECOWZ. Do you have any social media you wanna pimp on the show?
Yeah, sure. If you want to contact me, what is the best way? I guess you could email me. You can email the show, be like, hey, I wanted to talk to Alexandra. Or you could go to Alexandra Game Dev. That's gamedev.tumblr.com. That is my personal blog.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, before we go, we need to talk about Game Jam for January. Do you want to talk about the details about that?
Right. So LSU is hosting a location for the Global Game Jam in January, which you guys should all absolutely go to. It's a 48-hour game development competition. Registration fee is $25. Although you can get that fee waived if you volunteer, I think, for 4 hours, I believe, which is pretty reasonable considering you could like front load all that before and after, so it doesn't take time, out of your actual game development. If you want to register for that, you need to go to globalgamejam.org and search for the LSU location. That's not difficult to do. And then after that, you'll get the email for paying the fee and stuff like that. But yeah, that registration's been open for that for a couple of weeks. So
has it?
Yep, just go to
I need to sign up for that.
I think it is globalgamejam.org to register for that.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that covers everything.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching or listening or whatever. You can watch you can watch the podcast as it plays, but that sounds really boring. But thank you for listening as well. And I hope everyone has a good time. A good time gaming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining me. I hope we do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
All right, later. Blue Cow Radio.